Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about Witch Queen of Redwinter by Ed McDonald. This is not an episode I had planned on, but given that I've spent the last week and a half obsessed and just marathoning the Redwinter Chronicles, I felt I really owed it to myself, to the series, and to all of you out there to talk more about the conclusion. We talked last week about Book 1, Daughter of Redwinter, and it's a tricky thing for a series to stick a landing. But Witch Queen of Redwinter definitely does. I powered right through these books, just bing, bang, boom, one after the other, because I was having so much fun. They're sort of in that wonderful squishy space somewhere between an epic fantasy and a sword and sorcery setting. They are like these big, bold, magical novels. They're really voicey. They're really queer. If you're interested in seeing bad things happen to incels and like the rare win of a bad dog in a book, like a dog who sucks, I think you're really going to have a great time with these books. I know I did. You go your whole life, truly, your whole life, not wanting to read books where a bad thing happens to a dog, because a bad thing happening to a dog is like a bummer. And that's something that I sort of go out of my way to avoid, because it's a bummer. And then, what a delicious gift to have a dog who sucks. Like, the exception that proves the rule. Really delicious stuff. And just really very, very fun. You know, we're working towards some great endgame situations. We've got some fantastic resolution to mysteries established early in the series. And it's big, bombastic adventure fantasy. You know, I don't want to talk too much about like all the cool magical stuff that's happening in book 3, but like there's cool magical stuff. We've got magical costume changes. We've got little ancient automata. We have, of course, very, 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 very cool and very, 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 very lots of death magic. And just a lot of fun. It's an examination of how war and civil strife are disruptive forces. You know, we see in Book 2 this sort of subplot where villainous characters are establishing company towns, essentially. These, like, workhouse programs where your wage is a token, a chip that you can use to buy bread or your rent there in the workhouse. And it's like, I don't know about this. And at the same time, we have this really fun exploration of aristocratic aversion to these sorts of things as being too charitable. It's a fun sort of sword and sorcery, grimdarky kind of muddle in there. And while that energy doesn't quite disappear in Book 3, we do see the ways in which civil strife is disruptive to civil order, and the ways in which systems of power will break things in order to protect themselves, and then we see the world breaking itself as well. So it's all in that, you know, you could make an argument that it's about our times and a world in transition and a world in crisis, and this is, you know, often the case with our science fiction and fantasy. But it's also, as I've said, tremendously, tremendously bombastic and fun and thrilling adventure fantasy that just pulls you right along from Book 1 into Book 2, from Book 2 into Book 3, and into the early watches of the night. And so, with all of that in mind, we had to have a drink inspired by Book 3. Our drink today is the Sarathi, Last week we had the Draween, named for this magical order headquartered at this fortress of Redwinter. And today our drink is the Sarathi, which takes its name from the title used by the necromantic death sorcerers, the folks who can travel through this sixth gate, this meditative mode of working magic. And so all of our death magicians, notably Rain, our protagonist for the series. And we're going to start, as we did previously, with some Scotch whiskey, using that Bowmore 12-year, that really wonderful Scotch that can play well with others. And we're going to get an ounce of that down into our shaker. We stirred last week, but, you know, the world's a little rougher, so we got to shake things up. We're going to get our modifiers in there. The spirits of the world of Redwinter are these sorts of green and white ethereal beings, the ghosts. And so we're going to bring that bit of green and white here with half an ounce of Midori, sweet melon liqueur. Bring a bit of sweetness to it. And half an ounce of lime cordial, the syrup that we make here on Bar Cart Bookshelf with lime juice, sugar, and the oils from lime peel. Lovely. We're going to get half an ounce of that in there as well. And that's going to bring some sweetness, some depth. It's going to bring a bit of zing from the citrus juice as well, but tempered by the sugar that we use in making that syrup. And I've got a link in the description below to my book Cocktails and Consoles, where you can find this recipe. It's also available on social media, including on Blue Sky, which we've got a link to below as well. We'll get, for our white, 1 ounce of heavy cream. Now it's cold in Heronir too, so it's nice to have that bit of depth and richness that comes from the heavy cream. And then we got to keep it a little bitter still, so we're going to get a couple of dashes of grapefruit bitters. 1, 2. And as always with bitters, easy to add more, hard to add less. I'm a big fan of bitters, so I have maybe a heavy hand with them. You can always do a little bit lighter, taste it, see if you want to add more. And we'll get our ice down into our shaker and shake it up, wake it up. Lovely. Nice, frosty, freezy, very cold, chilled. And we're going to strain that back into our small tin, because we really want this to be frosty and fluffy. So we'll discard our ice and cap that back up top and give it a reverse dry shake. And this is going to help to froth that heavy cream. It's going to help aerate our drink. It's going to add a little more volume. It's just going to make it lighter, fluffier, more fun. Lovely. Perfect. You'll just shake that for 20 seconds, 10. It's up to you. Just what feels right. There's no cocktail police. Get our strainer and strain into a stemmed glass. Perfect. And there you have it. This is the Sarathi, inspired by Witch Queen of Redwinter. Witch Queen of Redwinter is the final volume in the Redwinter Chronicles. A huge thank you to the publisher Tor Books for sending me the second and third volumes in the trilogy. It's like I had such a good time with these books. I just, reading, going right through. I haven't gotten to marathon a series like this in a long time, and it was really wonderful. I hope that you check out the book. I've got a link to snag it in the description below. as well as links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there's always a written version of today's recipe. Got a link, as I said, to my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails Inspired by the Wonderful World of Video Games. And yeah, try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. We've got some really fun books coming to round out February and head into March. I've got some events forthcoming. We will have events in Baltimore and in the Columbus area in Ohio over the weekend of February 22nd and 23rd in Baltimore, and on Thursday, February 27th in Granville, Ohio. We'll be doing demonstrations. We've got links to find out more about that on my social media channels, Blue Sky, Instagram. I hope I can see some of you all there. So, try the drink, let me know what you think, and until next time, cheers.